Hello, and welcome to the Kids Teaching Kids podcast. In this podcast, we have high schoolers come on and answer questions that middle schoolers have about high school. Whether it be band, choir, orchestra, or just general high school life, we are going to cover it all, so make sure to stay tuned if you want to learn something new. With all that being said, today we're going to be talking about teachers. I'm also joined by Rian Leiser, a rising senior at Frisco High School. She will be starting the last year of the International Baccalaureate program, a 2-year globally renowned program where students grow to become well-rounded learners with the same teachers for the duration of the program. Ryan has also joined a variety of classes and organizations throughout her school career, from wrestling to theater, and has learned to adapt to each teacher's learning styles and ways of leadership. Hi Ryan, how are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you for being here. So we have selected a group of questions. We went and asked a bunch of middle schoolers questions they have about high school teachers, and we selected the most popular ones to talk about today. We're going to start off easy. What is the best way to get on a teacher's good side?
The best way to get on a teacher's good side is mostly by listening when the teacher is talking and not really talking when the teacher is trying to teach. It mostly comes off as disrespectful when they're trying to just help you out.
Yeah, I agree. Listening for sure, because that's hard for a lot of high schoolers to do for whatever reason. And also doing your work on time. Not just doing your work, but completing it on time, putting your effort into class.
Especially with IB, if you tell your teacher you're not going to be able to complete something on time, just communication. A lot of teachers don't want you to fail, so they're willing to adapt and work with you. But if you don't communicate, that's really not the greatest.
Yeah, I think that's where the issue really arises, is when the teacher, if you show up to the teacher's classroom the day of the assignment and be like, it's not done, that's when they get mad. They don't really get that upset if you just show up 3 days early, be like, I'm out of town, I won't be able to complete it. They understand, but don't be unprepared, and look forward in advance and make sure to communicate well.
Definitely.
So, do high school teachers have favorites? If so, how can we avoid being the teacher's least favorite student?
I think it just depends on the teacher themselves and depends on the type of class that you're in. Like if you're in, for example, an AP class, then maybe the teachers don't have as many favorites because they don't deal with you as long. But as teachers aren't supposed to have favorites, so they shouldn't be having favorites. But again, to be the quote-unquote, or to not be the quote-unquote least favorite, it's just by paying attention. And you wouldn't treat your parents disrespectfully, so don't treat your teachers disrespectfully.
Yeah. I would feel like it would be dishonest to say that teachers don't have favorites. I think some of them don't, but I think some of them do. Obviously, at least in a class, there's going to be kids they like and kids they don't like. So just doing the things we talked about earlier, listening, communicating, doing your work on time, doing those things, and they really just try hard, and they see your effort. So how do high school teachers handle discipline and classroom management compared to middle school teachers?
Well, in comparison to middle school, at least in my middle school, we didn't really have detention. At least like after school, it's only like detention during the lunch and you just sat alone. However, for discipline in high school, there's like detention after school, or like if it gets really bad, like calling your parents, or ISS, which is in-school suspension, or calling the principal. But a lot of teachers don't like putting discipline on students in general. They feel like it's going to put more effort on them.
Oh, yeah.
Or not just more effort, but it takes more time from your own learning. So it's not going to help as much to discipline you as it would just to have a conversation with you and see what is the underlying issue so that we can continue the learning process.
Yeah, in middle school, they'll just they get on you a lot. I know that. But in high school, they're on you significantly less, And even if they are, like, if you're, it's really only if you're disrupting class. We talked about this in an early episode with another friend of mine. If you're just zoning out, they won't be like, hey, pay attention. They are they that's not their concern. If you're talking and disrupting class, that's when they'll be like, please stop. They will give you so many warnings though. Like Ryan said, it's a lot of work to assign attention, like take away from your learning. So they will give you so many warnings before any actual disciplinary action happens.
And again, they don't see you as children. Like in middle school, they see you as children. They're just trying to get you ready for high school. In high school, they see you as future adults. So they're trying to get you ready for the real world. So just disciplining you or just yelling at you and then continuing on with the process isn't a healthy way of going about things. And most teachers understand that. So most teachers instead find healthier ways of going about it than just straight discipline and going about and then continuing on with the day.
Yeah, like in a job, if you're working a job and you're like disrupting the work experience for everyone else, you're not getting your stuff done, they're gonna talk to you, be like, what's going on? Why is your work not getting done? And you do it enough, they're just gonna be like, they won't kick you out of the class and just remove you from the class, but that with the job they'll just be like, yeah, you're fine, you're not doing your stuff. But in school they'll kind of give you second chances, be like, okay, let's try again, because they're sort of preparing you for the next step almost.
Especially they'll find the underlying issue, like what is the problem to begin with.
So how accessible are high school teachers outside of class? Can we ask them for extra help or clarification on assignments?
I think it depends on the type of class you're in. For example, for IB, my teachers will stay after school till about 8 p.m. every day. And our school ends about 4 hours before then. So, and not all the teachers at our school do that. Only my teachers are there that late. And my teachers answer their emails almost every time you email within an hour, right? But that's because our email or our program is so rigorous, and like they're still answering their emails during the summer as well. So I think it's all really just depends. However, like with AP classes, teachers have a certain timeline, and most of the time the teacher will discuss with you at the beginning of the school year what their boundaries are when it comes to outside of school. Like, I will answer your emails from this time to this time. After that, I will no longer be answering emails. I have my own personal life. On the weekends, I may or may not be answering emails. It really just depends on the teacher themselves. Some teachers may not answer emails, period. So it's just, which really sucks when that is the case, because especially when you need help and understanding, and when that's the case, it may be best to reach out to another teacher as another source for help in that same subject if your teacher is not responding. But it really also just depends. But most teachers will discuss at the beginning of the school year what their own boundaries are.
Right. I think most teachers in general are pretty good. A lot of teachers will stay for maybe like half an hour to an hour after school. Some of them are there before school, maybe 30 minutes, an hour early. So they'll give you that schedule. They say they have like a set tutorial schedule, so you can be like, they'll probably post on their door, Mondays after school I'm not here, but every other day you can come in. Most of them will reply to their emails same day. Some of them won't, but they'll probably discuss that. But most of them are really good with it. If not, even if that's the case, one thing I realized is that there's a lot of, at least not in IB, I don't know about IB, but in our classes, there's a lot of time in class to talk to them. One, after they let's say explain a problem and you don't get it, you can just raise your hand and ask them for clarification, and they'll be happy to clarify. Or after, let's say you have like an hour and a half long class, in the first hour you're learning and the teacher says next 30 minutes is free time or homework time, do your homework and be like, I don't get this question. Can you explain it? Rather than that way you save time. You don't have to email. They don't have to email you. It's a lot more. It's a lot easier. There is a lot of time that people waste in class. So just be cautious of that and make sure you're like paying attention. Do I have time right now? Yes. Okay. Let me see. I have questions. Let me go ask now instead of later.
That also goes back to the making sure you're not one of the least favorite or quote unquote least favorite students. Showing that you're putting in effort during class time instead of just wasting your time is such a great way for your teacher to like you more and have such an easy way of communication. So that when you do email the teacher, maybe the teacher is more likely to respond outside of school hours.
Right. A lot of people were asking about extra credit. In middle school, they get extra credit. Do they still get it in high school? That's a good question. Sometimes, they're not. At least in our school, they're not supposed to. So some teachers, some of the more chill teachers, will pull it off and just be like, "You got an 80 on the test. Okay, you don't. They won't put your grade above 100 probably, but they'll just change your grade to 100." If that makes sense.
I was about to say, or there are teachers who will be like, okay, everyone did pretty crappy on this test. We are going to do a in-class lesson over this thing that was on the test. And everyone, it's a group lesson, and then you will randomly see an extra grade in your grade book. That's 100. And it was like a class activity over something. Again, teachers don't want you to fail, right? They will literally do everything in their power to not have you fail. But sometimes they're not allowed to do certain things, such as extra credit. Like, our school is not allowed to do that. However, there are loopholes and things. So, again, if you have a decent teacher, they will still continue to do whatever they possibly can to make sure you pass.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be classified as extra credit, but let's just say that they'll find a way to bump your grade up. Do high school teachers give study guides or provide any tips for exams?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's in the form of like a legitimate paper that's like a study guide book that they'll give you for the unit. Or it's like, here is a review video I found online for your exam from like, there's this geography guy for AP World. I don't remember his name, but he was a great guy.
Heimler?
Yeah, there you go. But the teachers may do that. Teachers may also have you collaborate with other students to make a study guide yourselves. Like, what are some good resources you found online? And then you, as a group, put it together, and they're like, okay, that's your study guide.
Yeah, I've never had experience with that, putting your own study guide together. But I think they have, a lot of teachers will give you a study guide, and a lot of the times the homework itself is a study guide. So what I do for math, let's say, sometimes they wouldn't have a unit review. Sometimes they did, but when they didn't, if I did the homework already, which I should have, but sometimes I didn't. Oof, sorry. I would just reprint the homeworks and do the homeworks again because it's literally the same content, right? The homework is the test in a sense, just in advance, and you can ask the teacher about it. So I would just reprint it and then do it again. No, without looking at the answer key, and then just check. And if I got something wrong, be like, hey, what did I do wrong? But a lot of teachers will give like actual study guides, and you'll have to fill it out and use that. So yeah, I think so. I don't remember if they do in middle school though.
I think in middle school it's more just paper study guides.
Maybe. Yeah, in high school they'll give you like Quizlets and stuff. There's especially the history teachers. I don't know why history teachers do it so well, but they'll give you a document with possibly like 50 links to Quizlets, quizzes, study guides, videos, everything you need Like, you could not get through the entire thing if you wanted to. So, yeah, history teachers got it down. This is a funny one. How do you learn if your teacher isn't very good?
Okay. It's gonna suck. But you learn by yourself.
Yeah.
It sucks, and I know a lot of people are unable to teach themselves. It's very hard to be able to sit down and actually learn a whole class or whole topic by yourself. And if that's the case, then normally schools have more than one teacher for a subject. So normally those teachers are also open for tutorials, so you can also go to those teachers and ask for questions if you're not understanding what's going on in the unit because your teacher's not helping. But if not, mostly just working by yourself or working with the other kids in your class or in the classes with a different teacher is what I would say most likely.
Yeah, if you go to teachers, like another teacher every single time, every single class, that might be a bit weird. However, if I would learn it by yourself, but through tools like Quizlet, YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube videos, like a lot. You just search up the topic, derivatives. Let's say how to do derivatives on YouTube, and you'll find like 50 videos. Khan Academy is really good. They'll give you practice questions and everything, and then after that, you still have questions. That's when you would go to the other teacher or your teacher, maybe, if like depending on how bad they are, and be like, I don't understand this part.
Yeah.
Do high school teachers have different expectations for behavior and participation compared to middle school teachers?
Yes and no. Depends on the type of class you're in, mostly. Like IB, it's about constant participation and constantly answering questions. However, in on-level classes, it's more chill, and you can just hang out and only have to like answer one question or two every time.
Yeah, I feel like it depends on. It's very dependent on the class. On levels, much more chill, but AP classes, IB classes, they'll probably be on you a bit more. But I feel like overall, they're less. They don't bug you as much, like I was saying earlier. Like Ryan said, they treat you more like young adults rather than kids. So, in middle school, if you have a group project, the teacher will be roaming around, being like, "Oh, why are you not working? What are you doing? Why are your teammates working?" In high school, they'll have some system in place to make sure that you're all working. They'll say like highlight the sections you did, or they'll check the version history or something. But they won't roam around and be like, get to work. So they expect the participation, they just won't enforce it as much, and you'll just see the consequences of it later.
And the consequences is like your grade lowering in the class because you don't understand everything that's going on to the best of the abilities. Okay. It's all the teachers have put everything in front of you for you to get the best grade, but they're not going to force you to want to get the best grade possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about self-discipline.
Yeah. So what are some common mistakes middle schoolers make when transitioning to high school that we should be aware of? Acting like a child.
I was about to say that. So when you're in middle school, right, you are leaving middle school, at least in our area, you are in 8th grade, right? So you are at the top of the pyramid in middle school. However, you are transitioning to now the bottom of the pyramid in a new school. However, a lot of incoming freshmen do not understand the power dynamic has now switched again. So they like to act as if they are about to graduate, and it's like they've got senioritis as freshmen, as 14 or 15-year-olds, and they still have 4 more years. And it comes off as really immature and childish when this type of acting was okay in middle school. It's no longer okay in high school because you're no longer at that age yet or that pyramid spot where it is okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing I realized is also the pyramid dissolves a little bit in high school because people don't care as much about who's popular and who's not.
Oh, yeah.
No one's like, it's everyone's got things to do. We've got tests to study for. So don't, one, you're not popular. Two, don't in class while the teacher is teaching, don't be cracking jokes, especially if they're not funny.
No one cares.
They're probably not funny because the teacher is trying to teach and people are trying to learn. And if you are disrupting it, the teacher will hate you, the students will hate you because then they have to go home and learn it. It's not going to be good for you.
And it's not really fun.
Yeah, and chances are you'll learn that the hard way. So this is a fair warning. How do high school teachers handle conflicts or disagreements with students?
Like conflicts between students themselves or a teacher versus student?
I guess both. I guess with the teacher and student dynamic, I feel like they'll just talk to you.
Yeah.
Numerous times, and if you don't listen, they'll just like send you to whatever ISS.
They just figure out the root issue.
Yeah. But then student to student probably just separates you, and if you keep going, they'll just like ISS, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've never been in that situation.
When it comes to student issues, they'll try separating y'all for a bit to see if things are like, if y'all just need a break in between and handle it on your own. However, if the issue still continues to occur, they'll probably sit y'all down for like an intervention, and they'll just be the middleman.
Yeah.
And making sure nothing bad happens.
Yeah. Like I said, it's really hard to get ISS, if I'm being completely honest.
Like, you only get ISS if you like get into a fist fight.
Yeah, you have to really try, and don't get into fist fights.
Yeah, don't do that.
2 years ago, every single day there was a fight. Every single day, without fail. Don't do that. It's really annoying. Please. Like, it was bad. So, don't get into fist fights. If you want to get into a fist fight, do it outside of school.
Yeah.
No one's stopping you there.
Just wait till after school hours and off campus.
Exactly. It's really not hard. Do high school teachers provide feedback and grades in a similar way to middle school teachers?
Ish. Some teachers will provide feedback if you ask for it. Not all teachers will provide like specific feedback. Sometimes teachers will just give you the grade. For example, on like a math test, some teachers might just cross off like a question if you got it wrong, and then put on the score. So you can ask for like feedback, and they'll explain it to you, but they won't sugarcoat it how they do in middle school. It's more just blunt, like here's what you messed up, here's what you can work on. Not like a, oh, well, it's okay. It's not exactly like that. They want you to succeed, so they'll tell you straightforward what you need to work on.
I remember in middle school once, I was with like a science teacher, and we had some hallway activity, where you like do the problems stuck on the wall and stuff. I did that once, and I like messed up a problem, and it was a really stupid mistake. And I like said out loud, "Oh, I'm so stupid," and the teacher was like, "No, it's okay. No, you're not. You're so smart." And for like a solid 5 minutes, because she thought I was sad or something that I messed it up, and I was like, I just made a stupid mistake. And so for 5 minutes, she sat there like gently explaining it. They'll just tell you what you did wrong in high school.
Yeah.
You messed up this part. Here's how to fix it. There's no sugarcoating. It makes it a lot easier if you ask me.
Or, for example, in English, sometimes the teachers are harder graders.
Oh, yeah.
For example, if you mess up on punctuation a couple times, they will dock off like 5 or 10 points, and it'll just say like, if you're like, oh, why did I lose so many points? So like, you need to work on punctuation.
Yeah.
May suck, but straightforward, to the point, you know better for next time.
Mm-hmm. Also, one difference in middle school, because people didn't write their names a lot. It was so funny. And then they would lose their mind because they would take points off for not writing your name in middle school. They don't do that anymore. They'll just put your paper on the side, and then once they're done grading, they'll be like, "Whose paper is this? Oh, that's mine. Okay, great. Now I have to go back and grade it."
Yeah.
But most people write their names. I just thought that was a funny comparison because I remembered that.
Yeah.
Are the teachers in high school really controlling like they are in middle school, or are they more laid back?
Oh, no. They're not controlling. Again, they're dealing with kids from the age of 14 to 18. So, or 15 to 18, I guess. So, they know we're all about to be adults. Or we're on our way to being adults. So, they're nowhere near as controlling. They also know we should be old enough to understand how to do our schoolwork and do it on time.
Mm-hmm.
So they have enough trust in us to get things done.
Yeah, in middle school they'll sort of manage your time for you, in the sense when it comes to projects and stuff. They'll be like, okay, this is what you have to do in this time frame. In high school, they'll just say it's due this day. And then they'll say you have free time to work on it in class, and then you sort of schedule it yourself. So they're like I said, they're sort of preparing you for the future, teaching you time management a little better, making you do things yourself more. So we have one final question today.
Okay.
What advice do you have for middle schoolers on building positive relationships with their teachers in high school?
My advice would be just to try your hardest in school. You don't have to understand everything. You are definitely not going to be able to understand everything. And that is okay. As long as you try, that's all that teachers really care about. And if you put time and effort in class, when the teacher's watching, then the teachers will always try to work with you and try to make sure you will succeed. So, I think just trying to put your best foot forward. And if you're not understanding something, reaching out for help.
Yeah, I think also you want to build a relationship that's more than just schoolwork, I feel. One thing that people told me all the time, which I disagree with, is don't be really don't be friends with your teacher, they said, because they said it comes off as disrespectful. But I don't think that's the case. I think, like, taking interest in what they're doing, be like, oh my gosh, what'd you do last weekend? And like genuinely being interested and building a relationship that's more than just school. That way, especially if you get into some trouble, you fail a test or something, and they're like, they'll look at you and be like, you don't usually do that. Like, what happened? Are you okay? Is everything outside of school okay? You have external factors going on. You have a little support system. Versus if your teacher hates you, you failed the test. You failed the test. No one cares.
Yeah, especially since moving forward, once you start high school, you have to think about, once you get to like your senior year, you will be asking some of these teachers for like letters of recommendation for college. So making sure you can gain a good relationship or connection with at least one teacher that you can just really bond with can really go a long way for whenever it gets to your senior year and you need letters of recommendation for college.
Yeah, I think that's a really good place to leave off. Well, thank you for being here very much, Ryan.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. That's all we have today for the Kids Teaching Kids podcast. I hope you did learn something new today. If you have any more questions about teachers, make sure to let us know and we'll be sure to answer them. However, I thank you for being here today. Make sure to tune in next Thursday for our next podcast, and I hope you have a wonderful day.